Lucia. Oh. I don't even know if I've seen an episode of that show. It's amazing the things that you know just from culture, from pop culture, that you may not have even participated in. Like, how many people know about Tiger King? And they haven't even watched it. Well, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. If you're thinking it's a little lighter in here than normal, you're not wrong. We got a couple things going on. We got the grow lights over there. It's actually a little lighter outside than it was yesterday because it wasn't so dark. And I got one more light turned on up above just to kind of fill it out a little bit. Because if you're trying to wake up, whether that's me or you via this, it's helpful to have some light. So, well, I hope you had a great Monday. I had a moderately productive Monday. I got the things done I needed to get done by about 4 o'clock, and then just hung out. I've recently discovered Hulu has the HBO show Ballers, starring The Rock and Rob Corddry, and it's been a fun show. So I've been watching that. What did I make for dinner last night? Fusion tacos. Normally I wait for Tuesday for tacos. And I might still have tacos again tonight, because tacos are awesome. But these were kind of a sushi taco hybrid. Wasabi rice, sriracha mayo, sesame seeds, of course, cheese, fried cod. I think that was it. They're really good. Really good. I tried to go to the grocery store over the weekend, and they wouldn't let me in. And to be honest, they weren't letting anyone in. I'm not sure why. I didn't get out of the car to look at the sign. So I'm making do with what I have, which is a lot of frozen things and a lot of packaged things. Not a lot of produce left. But I got eggs, so I'm good for a little while longer. I wish you could freeze. If you could freeze eggs, I don't think I'd ever need to go to the grocery store. You go like twice a year. Eggs are the major thing. And within a few weeks, I should have greens to eat. So just keep going with that, right? Well, what is this? Quarantine day 4000? Feels like it, doesn't it? This is such a surreal time to be alive. Multiple times a day, I just take a step back and say, is this really happening? And of course it is. And it's sad. And I know there are people out there handling it worse than I am, and people who have it much worse than I do. So shout out to all of them. Just keep smiling. Do what you can. What's going on today? Got some more plant stuff to do. Got to water the plants, which now is a job. I think it's supposed to be nice out, so I might try to get outside. Try to get some movement in. Rained really hard last night. I was really glad I wasn't outside in it. I don't have any appointments, any clients, any interviews today. So just getting work done. That's really what it comes down to, just getting work done. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I got. That's all that's going on today, is just doing some work and watering some plants and going outside and cooking food. But then again, that's most of my day, most days. Yay. I hope you're all weathering this better than I am. Doing my best. Don't forget, we've got the official seminar on Thursday. Looking forward to that. And as of right now, it's going to be just a Zoom call. I think we've got like 20 people coming. That's it. So that's fine. I'm totally good with that. Okay. Let's look at the questions. I know we got some questions, some comments, some things for me to respond to, and I'll do that, and we'll go forward. Today, Tuesday, April 14th, 2020, is the 5th year anniversary of the release of the video game Mortal Kombat X. Or would I say that Mortal Kombat 10? It's probably 10. Have you ever played it? No. I remember the first time I played the first Mortal Kombat at my friend Saunders' house. I was probably 14, maybe 15, somewhere in there, and was blown away at how creative and violent it was. Because back then, fighting games weren't. There was no blood. There was no ripping people's heads off. No fatalities, which of course, Mortal Kombat introduced. And it was a lot of fun. I'd played Street Fighter and plenty of other fighting games. There was one I remember way back that I felt was ahead of its time called One Must Fall. I had that on the computer. That was a great game. I think that was the reason I bought a joystick. And I'm trying to remember. I think it was Bruce Lee that they modeled. No, Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat was modeled after Van Damme. That's what it was. And I think Liu Kang is meant to very loosely be Bruce Lee. I think that's it. I don't think anybody else was modeled after real people. But I want to give a shout out to Shihan Chris Casamassa, who has played Scorpion in all of them, and has been a friend of the show. And I forget what episode we interviewed him, but he's a great guy. And in the upcoming movie, they better cast him as Scorpion again, because he's the only person to be that character in every iteration. So that's kind of fun. The first Mortal Kombat movie was fun and terrible at the same time, as so many great classic movies are. The CGI for Goro with his forearm almost looks like claymation. Yeah, well, that's what you get when you watch movies that are 25 years old. Wow, hard to imagine that movie's that old, but is it that old? I don't remember. It's at least 20, but it's still classic. Good stuff, right? Which do you think brings more people to the martial arts? Video games, movies, or TV? Historically, it's been movies. We saw, we've heard from guests on Martial Arts Radio the huge influx of students that came from Karate Kid, and how many people have we had on the show who said that Enter the Dragon or other Bruce Lee films were part of, if not the major reason, that they joined a martial arts class? And then, of course, we had Ninja Turtles, especially the movies. There's something about what happens in a movie, the power of a movie versus a TV show. I suspect it's because the movie ends, and a well-done movie, it brings you into that environment. You're part of the experience. And then it ends and you want it to continue. And how do you make the Karate Kid continue? How did you make the first Ninja Turtles movie continue? How do you make Enter the Dragon continue? You do martial arts. That's how you get there. Because you're not living in a sewer and you're not, going to fight to the death on an island, right? So you train. And I think that's brought in a lot of people. TV, I don't think has the same impact because it continues. I don't think because it, by definition, leaves you wanting more, but it's dangled out there, a week historically. So to participate again, you just have to wait. You don't have to do anything on your own. I suspect that's a big piece of it. Are there TV shows that have led to martial arts? Maybe Power Rangers. I think that of all the ones that are out there, I'm trying to think through. That's the only one that I've heard really referenced. But it's not nearly as much as others. Dragon Ball Z. I've heard some younger folks reference. But I still think it's movies. Video games. I think video games so quickly became fantasy that it's hard to identify with the characters. How do you identify with any of the characters in a Mortal Kombat game to say, I want to do that? I don't know anybody who wants to rip people's heads off and, throw spears at them and set them on fire or freeze them and then shatter the block of human ice. Right? It's kind of hard to relate to that. And I think by definition, most video games, at least in the fighting genre, are unrealistic. The UFC game, I've played that. And that's decent. It's decently realistic. It was fun. But I don't know that that's inspiring people to start training. And that's okay. It's okay to have aspects of martial arts that don't inspire people to train. I spent some time yesterday evaluating, is it time to bring forward the master, I got something in my eye, it's driving me nuts. The Master Hopkick comic book. And after looking at what's going on and what it would cost to bring it forward and where we're at, it's not. But I'm excited to launch that when it's time, because we've got the story. If you want to check out the story, you can go to masterhopkick.com, or you can download the activity. I think the activity book might have gotten pulled down. I think Amazon had an issue with it. I don't remember what it was. Master Hopkick Origins, the origin story, is also available on Kindle for like 99 cents. Because they won't let us make it free. Did you have any favorite martial arts related video games growing up? So I didn't really have video games growing up. My mother wouldn't allow me to have a Nintendo, and so I would play it at other friends' houses. I mentioned Sonder. Sonder had a Sega Genesis. My buddy Jeremiah had a Nintendo, and he had Kung Fu. And that was a lot of fun. Terrible game. Very hard. I have one of the little Nintendo Classic things, the little retro boxes, and I've played Kung Fu on that a few times, and it's so hard. I don't even think I've made it past the first level, which I used to be able to do. What else did I play for martial arts video games? Of course, Street Fighter. Who was my guy when I played Street Fighter? As I got better, it was Ryan. Early on, it was probably Guile. Guile or Blanca, I think, were my characters early on. God, and the only thing when I think about Street Fighter, I think about the terrible, terrible movie. Oh, that was a bad movie. Such a bad movie. I should watch that again. I haven't seen that movie since it came out and the first time, because it was so bad. Any other martial arts video games? It's funny. I have these moments where I think about getting back into video games, and then I think, okay, think about the last few times you've played video games. I started getting back into StarCraft. StarCraft was like my favorite game as a teenager, and StarCraft 2 is available for free, and it's on my computer, and I haven't touched it in a month. So clearly, either that game or my lifestyle don't really line up, you know. I've got the little Nintendo retro box there, and I've looked at getting something, and I video games just aren't my thing. I'm happy to sit down and play them with friends. I love playing games with friends, but video games solo just they're not as fun. And yeah, I mean there are plenty of internet options. You know, I can play over the web with somebody, but I think I got it out of my system. I used to play. I prefer real-time strategy games. Here, we'll talk about Jeremy's preference with video games. I prefer real-time strategy games. The first game that really consumed my soul was a game called Pirates by Sid Meier, and they relaunched it with better graphics for the Wii years later, which I found which blew me away. Super cool. Uh, and the whole idea is you're in the Caribbean and you're sailing around, and you know you've got to navigate the politics of the French, Spanish, English, and Dutch, and depending on whether you kept the settings historically accurate, you know they'd be at war at different times, and you could raid, and it was a really complex game, and it was a lot of fun. And then Sid Meier came out with Civilization, which is considered one of the greatest games of all time, and I just kind of lost like 3 years of my life playing that game, building empires, and it was a ton of fun. And I thought about getting back into that, but when the end of the day comes, I don't want to sit at my computer and play more games. So it would have to be a console, and those games don't work well on consoles. You know, I'm impressed at the graphics of things like modern Call of Duty and such, and the gameplay just seems phenomenal. But it just doesn't call to me. I'd rather sit on the couch and eat fusion tacos and watch TV, or you know, get outside and enjoy that. Right? And I hope you get the opportunity to get outside. I hope whatever it is you do with your free time is something that you enjoy. I'm not going to judge people for spending their time differently than I do, and I hope that they don't judge me for the way I spend mine. There are plenty of people who I'm sure think the amount of time I spend with plants is ridiculous. There are plenty of people I think, well, I'm not even going to say it because it doesn't matter. Because my opinion on how people spend their time is irrelevant. Let's try that word again. Irrelevant. There we go. So there we go. Now, I hope you have a fantastic day, whatever it is you choose to do. You play video games, you play with plants, go outside, do it. Do something today that brings you joy. And make sure you stop back tomorrow. And if you're so inclined, leave us a question or a comment, something I can respond to. Because without that, this show is really boring. Shout out to Frank for leaving some great comments, things for me to respond to, as always. If you haven't already subscribed, turn on notifications. You'll get notified about this show and everything else that we upload on the content side. Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio, this. I have some thoughts on First Cup. That might be coming back. And we do this show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, here on YouTube. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Peace.